hanging out, drinking beer at the bar, talking sports? Come on out and join us weekly. Guys at the Bar Talking Sports, your podcast for just that. Hanging out, drinking some beer, talking sports.
Have fun with the guys at the bar talking sports, Dad.
All right, our boy, Landon, the predictor of all things sports, is going to go ahead and give you guys who he thinks is going to win this Army-Navy game this week. Let's go ahead and see.
Navy, beat Army.
Oh my, he said, go Navy, beat Army. Watch out, y'all. Do you want to help support the show? Well, we're doing it for beer. So go ahead and buy us a beer. You can do that through Venmo at Guys at the Bar Talking Sports, and we'll look forward to drinking that beer on you. What up, y'all? This is your boys, Guys at the Bar Talking Sports, coming at you. It is the Army-Navy game week, so we'll go ahead and start off with a little bit talk about well, we'll get to that. We're not going to talk about that first, but we're going to talk about a few other things first, like the conference championship week last week. We'll get into how that all played out, as well as the way that the playoff rankings played out, and see what y'all think about that. And then we'll move into the Army-Navy game, and then from there talk about some Heisman Trophy. Everyone's been announced who's going to be going to New York for the Heisman Trophy show, so we'll go ahead and talk about that and then get into some other stuff. We might even talk about some NFL football. Who knows, but keep on listening for all that good stuff. Listen, we got a great show coming up for you today, so let's go ahead and do some introductions real fast. Right across the table from me, we got my boy, the Rebel.
What's up?
I'm not going to ask what you're drinking.
Because if you
don't know,
you're not listening. That's put it to you like that.
He's drinking a Malibu and Coke. Only the best.
That's a damn lie.
Only the best. Oh, no, Malibu and Diet. Okay. Got you. All right. We got my boy, Ripper the Predictor. What are you drinking there? You got a draft?
Hey, aliens are real and they make one fine lager. I'm drinking a UFO white ale. It's delicious.
Is it delicious?
It is.
That sounds pretty good to me. Now, what flavor? Like, is it an IPA or is it a?
It's a wheat.
Wheat. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, those are always pretty good. I think I had that last year as well.
It's delicious.
There is a Christmas lager that's up as like a can right now. We were talking about a Christmas drink, a Christmas beer last week because someone was drinking a pumpkin ale or something like that. So y'all might want to try that. It's in the can. I don't know what it's called.
The best Christmas drink is Evan Williams eggnog. That's simple.
I thought you were gonna say whiskey and Coke or something.
No, man.
Coke.
I prefer to match that with my Clark Griswold Moose Cup.
Fair enough. I'm good with this.
Yeah.
So my man Chopper did not come in late today because I guess soccer season's not going on right now.
It is over.
Thank you for being here. You're dressed like you're playing soccer though, with all that Adidas gear on. What's up? What are you drinking?
More than double the label, then they got to be paying you, right?
So
I think they doubled it up.
Well, did we get a sponsorship from Adidas then?
That's right.
Oh man, that's amazing. That's nice. So let's do. Oh, and this is your boy Hanger. I'm drinking a Coors Light because I'm not allowed to drink whiskey straight anymore for the time being. Even though my arm does hurt, I have no.
So let me translate. He got castrated, and he no longer has them.
No. That's next week on Monday. Monday. I do have something like that happen. But, yeah, I'm not allowed to take ibuprofen until then. Let's just say
fair enough.
But we won't get into my medical traumas anytime soon. Maybe we'll cut this out of the show. I've never edited the show before.
Hysterectomy?
Colonoscopy.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Sex change?
My bad.
Definitely not that. All right, moving on. We went right to the gutter fast, and we're not going to do that. We're going to go to the gutter, which is the conference championship week. North Carolina versus Clemson. Terrible game overall, I thought. You know, but we don't really talk too much about the past. We talk about the future, right? So what I wanted to talk about was how the conference championship week kind of played out in the sense of how it affected the playoffs. Because nobody thought that. I mean, there was a few teams, like everyone thought USC was going to win that game against Utah, right? Or was there a few of us saying differently?
I picked Utah.
You did, okay. And I mean, Utah beat them in regular. Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Wow. Are we gonna start paying you over? Are we gonna start listening to you over Ripper the Predictor over here?
I picked Kansas State.
Okay.
Possibility.
Gotcha.
But you're not paying me.
That's true. So K-State did beat TCU. What do y'all think about TCU being ranked third, even though they were ranked third already?
Well, I feel like at this point it's something we've been saying now for weeks. Number one is I told you guys my prediction was that TCU would get to the conference championship game and they would lose there, as you've seen many of the Big 12 dominant teams do that year in and year out. It held true. Is with TCU being in the top four, it's a matter of what we said, that you can't argue they've got one loss. They lost in a very close overtime game in their conference championship game, that if they'd have won, they were there. Are they one of the top four teams in the country? I don't think so. But because of the way the schedules play out, which they have no control over, and they held their own, and they did what they had to do.
They're a one-loss team.
They're a one-loss team.
In overtime.
In a very competitive game against a team that was highly touted after about the third or fourth week of the season. So my thing is this: I don't understand. I get why they're there. I won't argue with the decision. But do I think the top four teams in the country are in the playoff? No, I do not.
Are there two lost teams out there that would beat TCU hands down? And I think there's two or three maybe.
And you made that point on the Facebook group. If you're not on it, go ahead and join it. Chopper, you were saying that you said is Alabama. What was your exact point that you said?
Well, that's we were talking about Ohio State there, but I was saying, basically, if TCU had Alabama's schedule, what would their record be?
Yeah. But you also said something like would Alabama beat TCU straight up? And I think everyone thinks that that's the case. Well, so Alabama should be in with that type
especially
of
late in the season. Alabama is always good late in the season. They come prepared, and definitely think they would beat them.
What do you got for me?
Well, I think TCU earned the right to be in the playoffs. Do I think they're the best four teams? Not necessarily, but to be able to finish in the Final Four and make the playoffs, you have to earn the right to get there. And being a two-loss non-conference championship isn't going to get you there. And being a two-loss conference champ hasn't gotten anybody there since the playoffs has been around in 2014.
Yeah.
Which makes the case for having the 12-team playoff, right? So
now
it'll all kind of make sense when that happens.
And we did think about this earlier in the season, like LSU, if they ended up winning out, they were two-loss LSU, and they won the SEC championship against Georgia, which obviously we saw that.
I think if that would have happened, even though we all predict that was going to be a blowout. If that would have happened, I think LSU would have gotten in that scenario. My thing is this: look, I mean, let's take all homerisms out of this. I know Cheek's not here, and she would argue against this next comment. You had two other teams that could arguably have been there in the case of TCU. Number one being Tennessee. Look, I've loved their story this year. I've loved what they did. I'm glad they are relevant again. But when you get blown out in Columbia against the Gamecocks, who to that point had a mediocre season, above average season at that point, and your quarterback goes out hurt, and now you're at your backup quarterback, that eliminated them right there. Yeah. But the point being is TCU is that Alabama, if you're going to go with four best teams, Alabama, 5 points, probably 10 seconds worth of football. You could even go to the Tennessee game and say it was a very questionable PI call on the goal line that even gave Tennessee the opportunity to beat them in Knoxville.
That's true.
They should have been in this. But again, I'm not going to sit here and argue against TCU making this thing because the people doubted them all year. They're going to lose. And when they did, they did it with style. If they would have gotten blown out by Kansas State, I don't think they make it in. But they took them to the brink and had opportunities to win.
I think somebody made that decision the week before.
Well, and Tennessee.
By putting Ohio State above Alabama.
Yeah.
They weren't getting in.
And TCU was down, what was it, by 14 points
Yeah,
or more,
so-
and they were able to come back and tie it up and then go to overtime.
Look,
and the only reason why they went on with what was it, 4th and goal or something like that on the 1 yard line, and they did not make it during overtime. So that's the only reason why they didn't put the 3 points on the board in the first place. So TCU can make a good argument that we could be undefeated right now if it weren't for that one call.
Correct.
A lot of people have been, clamoring for Alabama should have been in the playoffs, but we've forgotten what Alabama has looked like throughout the season. Barely beat an A&M team.
Yeah, that's true.
They have 2 losses, and there were a couple of close games where if you're a playoff team, you should not be in a close game
Well,
against.
we could go down everybody's game and just talk about close games. I mean, Missouri should have beaten Georgia. I mean, they should. And Missouri is a middle tier SEC school.
Right.
So,
But Georgia undefeated.
And
and
Georgia
SEC.
won
Correct,
those
absolutely.
games.
Yeah,
Alabama did.
Correct. So, I mean, at the end of the day, the final say to here is TCU's in. At the end of the day, they're going to sit here. They've got Georgia first round, correct?
No.
Yeah.
TCU's got Michigan.
Where's Tennessee? Or sorry, TCU's the 4th?
Michigan, yeah, it's Michigan, TCU.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I was thinking outside.
Ohio State.
So here's what's basically going to be: is Michigan is going to blow them out, and everybody's going to say they shouldn't have been, kind of like Cincinnati last year.
Yeah, okay.
Or they're going to beat them, and this could end up being one of the coolest football stories we've had in a really long time, going into a national championship game. And I'm all for it. I don't have a problem with it. They do it. Again, I like cool stories. I like the underdog story. Who doesn't like
What
those?
if the national championship is TCU versus Ohio State?
Amazing, wouldn't it? And
Right?
I know my man
Could be,
Ripper is
right?
all about that story
that could
right
be,
there.
that would be cool, right?
It would be cool either way. It'd be cool because the 2 underdogs won the game, or if TCU were to beat the undefeated juggernaut that is Georgia. I mean,
Everybody wants to see. Everybody thinks it's going to be Michigan, Georgia, right? What if it's not?
The only way Georgia loses that game is, to Ohio State, is if they just come in not playing good football on defense. Because Ohio State can put up a crap load of offensive yards if they're looking good that day as well. Because we've seen Ohio State. You said it, Ripper. All season they've been kind of like looking like it's about to happen, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah,
Right?
so our top 2 running backs have just not been healthy since like week 3. There's a possibility that they're going to get healthy. They've got, 3.5 weeks until they play. But they're going to have to play their best game of the season. They're going to have to play mistake-free football. And can they do that? Yes. Will they do that? It's yet to be seen. I hope so. Personally, I would love to see
the rematch.
a rematch of the game in the national championship. But that also scares me because the last 2 times we played Michigan, they kind of took it to us. And I think, you want to be able to beat the best, and you want to be able to avenge your loss against your rival. So what a storybook season that could end up being for Ohio State, but a lot has to go right for them for that to happen.
If Ohio State beats Georgia, they beat the best.
Yes.
Everyone knows that, right?
Well,
and then if they avenge that loss, even more so, then Ohio State's then everything comes
Then there
together
will
for
be
your
no
season.
complaints about them backing into the playoffs.
Will we get a good Ripper report out of that, or what?
Now, what happens if Ohio State and TCU both get blown out?
Everybody's going to say Alabama should have been there.
Yeah, but they're not. But Alabama's not there.
No, I agree.
Tennessee's
Yeah, so-
not there.
But does the storyline ever change, though? Because, this seems to happen year in and year out. It's either like a Notre Dame in there that get blown out, or a Cincinnati gets blown out. Or it's always putting in somebody that we think is going to be good, and they
Well, the
always get blown
storyline
out.
has changed
They always
because
get blown
Alabama
out.
is not in,
But they always get
Clemson.
blown out.
or Clemson.
It has, but it's
Well, my thing is
still-
this: I don't recall, and I'm not saying it's not happened. I don't recall where those first two games of the playoff were tight, competitive games. What's the one year?
2014, Ohio State, Alabama.
No. What are you saying? So what were the 2 games leading in? No, I'm not talking about the championship game. I'm
No,
talking about the 2 games.
that was a 4
That was-
versus a 1.
that was
Ohio
very-
State was the 4th ranked team.
He's not understanding. there's 2 games in the first round of the playoffs to where both of those games were tight, to where it could have gone either way.
You're saying we're both up.
Where both games. Every year, one team has gotten blown out.
Every year.
Every year.
Yeah, I don't know how.
Every year it's an undefeated team or a one-loss team from some other conference other than the SEC that gets blown out.
I mean, it wasn't the first year, it was the Oregon Ducks. They got destroyed, right?
Prove me wrong.
No, that's what I'm saying. So the point being is this: for if one of these teams do get blown out, that's kind of par for the course. 2 tight games would be the unusual thing here. And again, I'm looking forward to it, and I hope it happens.
It makes for an interesting scenario to get 12 teams into the playoff to really see. I mean, if you look at who's number 12 right now, I'm not looking at any numbers on that, but
no, it wouldn't be Tulane because Tulane would get the 12 seed right now.
Yeah, is Tulane really going to go in there and beat Georgia though? Come on,
they beat Kansas State.
Is Kansas State going to go in there and beat Georgia?
Let me explain something to you.
So.
What happens if they beat Alabama?
No. So the odds, to your point, are there. But listen, all it takes is an injury in the middle of a game, or a school puts it together for one game. Now, do I see like a Tulane running the table? No. But could they put together a game plan, put all their eggs in one basket, and upset a team? Absolutely, it can happen.
Number 5 team.
It absolutely could happen.
Yeah, because that's how it would be. It would be number 5 against number 12 for the first week, for the first round.
Yeah.
And they could go in there and beat the number 5 team, but will they be able to come back again and beat?
Can you do that? That's the thing about talking about like the group of 5 school saying they should be included in all this. And again, I'm a big fan of a group of 5 school. It's let's look at the SEC. Can App State put it together one week and pull off the upset? Texas A&M, yes, but can you play Texas A&M and then play LSU the next week, then play Alabama the next week, and do it week in, week out? No, you're not going to do that. But
those boys will be dropping like flies.
That's what I'm saying. So for a playoff game, could a number 12 seed put it together and upset a 5 seed? Sure.
One time, yes.
Yes.
So, I think we tore that entire scenario apart. Fun conversation. Let's talk about the Heisman race right now. Right now we have Caleb Williams going, Max Duggan, Stetson Bennett the 4th, which I think that came in pretty quick. No one was really saying that he would be there, but he is. And then you got C.J. Stroud. These are the numbers, right? 4,035 yards for Caleb Williams with 37 touchdown passes. He's tied with C.J. Stroud at 3,300 yards with 37 touchdown passes. Stetson Bennett, 3,425 with 20 touchdowns. Not so good on the touchdown side, a little bit more yardage or whatever. Then you got Max Duggan, 3,300 yards with 30 touchdowns. Caleb Williams, hand down, man.
Not even close.
Stetson Bennett wins this.
Yes, he does.
Okay, why do you say that?
Stetson Bennett comes in. It's the story behind Stetson Bennett in terms of, it's a good feel-good story from where he started to where he finished. He's on the best team. They won the national championship last year. They just won the SEC championship, and they're probably going to play in the national championship again this year. The story is just too good to not give the leader of that team the Heisman.
The walk-on coming in, Georgia fan his whole life.
He wins it hands down.
16 years after he starts college football.
In fact, he runs away with it.
So,
wow.
I still like Caleb Williams. I think he's had an incredible season. Even though I think the one thing that's going to hurt him is his fingernails, writing that stuff. That's
tacky.
It's
bad
not
form.
it's
not classy.
Yeah, it's not a good look for college football. He's a competitor. Numbers-wise, competitiveness, sure, and he showed a lot of toughness in that loss.
I haven't seen him throw
But
one ball.
let's not forget about Max Duggan. Now remember, TCU was picked to finish last in the Big 12. He's got them in the playoffs now with a number 3 ranking. Let's not sleep on him. Stetson, he is the leader of that team on offense, but they can win without him. Now, how great would it be? Everybody's talking about how Ohio State backed their way into the playoffs. What if C.J. Stroud backs his way into the Heisman?
With all those touchdown passes,
it would be a great story.
And he did it without his best receiver, and he missed his 2 best running backs for most of the season.
Yeah. Look, let's be honest with you, and it's gotten more and more with every year. The Heisman Trophy race has become a beauty contest. It's who can promote themselves, who brand is better, and it shouldn't be, but that's what it's become. But our Facebook follower, Dennis Glover, put up a stat the other day that made me even step back and go, whoa, okay, so let's think about this. When you schedule your games, you got some flunkies everybody plays every year, and you pad your stats, man. You start chucking the ball around, you're getting all these yards. So the stats he put up about the Heisman Trophy, folks, and he even included Hendon Hooker, who everybody said should have been there. So let's go down. I'm going to make my case for Stetson Bennett here. He's the only one that won his conference championship.
Have you two talked about this, by the way?
No.
It was on Facebook.
No.
All right.
He's the only one that won his conference championship. His record is 13-0 against top 25. This is where it goes off the rails in his favor and where it shouldn't matter. He played 5 games against top 25. He won all 5 of them. His completion rate in those games were 73.1. The next closest was 65.2.
Wow.
His yards in that game in those games against top 25, so 5 games, were 1,472. The next close was Hooker at 1,066. 13 touchdowns to 10, only 2 interceptions, quarterback rating of 185. The next closest is 154. And oh, by the way, he rushed for 4 touchdowns. That right there should put the trophy down in Athens when you take all the – because, look, guys, none of them have stood out. They have all kind of fumbled and bumbled around. He's been kind of a steady Eddie. He's never been the front runner. He just never made mistakes. All the rest of the guys have made mistakes.
Yeah.
He should be your Heisman Trophy based off the guys who were there inviting to New York.
I agree. He runs away with it.
Well, I guess you made a pretty good case. So should we go ahead and sign him up now, or should we?
No, because
hand the
it's
trophy.
No, because he's not the beauty contest winner. You know, Williams is. That's the one everybody promoted early on. He's out in L.A. He's gotten all this publicity, and Stetson Bennett's just kind of chugging along, doing his thing because he's on a team that's so good. He's not the one guy that stands out. Everybody, the defense stands out, the receiver stands out, whatever. And he's just going to work every day and doing his job and coming home and doing it again tomorrow. So does he win it? I can't say he will. But should he, based on those that are in New York? Absolutely he should.
I mean, I love the story. I think it's great, and it would be interesting to see someone who was a walk-on, George fan all his life, blah, 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 get into it after winning a national championship last year and playing this year and getting where he's at.
What a great story, man.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Agreed.
And you go from Bryce Young to him, it's kind of like the handoff from Alabama to Georgia almost.
And that would be just
It's
extra
like,
added motivation for that Buckeye defense. And
Did
CJ will play lights out.
Did they find 2 safeties in the meantime since they played Michigan?
I think that was all about scheme there.
Where does
Selling out for the run.
Where does Stetson Bennett, the 4th, end up in the draft this year?
He doesn't.
You don't think he
ends up in the Canadian League.
That's where he ends up, you think? You
He's-
don't think
he-
he goes 7th round, 6th
No.
round?
Working in an accounting
No,
firm in
absolutely
Atlanta.
not. Look, man, he's going to get drafted in the 5th or 6th round just based off what he has done. And he'll be a good backup somewhere, and who knows, man.
He'll be like Georgia's NIL manager next year.
I think that's the best position to have. Is
Let me tell you
backup
what,
quarterback.
Charlie Whitehurst has made almost
Charlie Whitehurst,
$80 million
that
in the NFL, and he started, I think, 10 games.
He is the best example of the. What a great job, Charlie Whitehurst.
He was a career backup for 15 years and made about $80 million.
I mean,
and he can still walk.
Yes.
if you're drafted in the 7th round, I looked up all these numbers this week just to see what it was. If you're drafted in the 7th round, last pick, you're going to get a $3.85 million contract for 4 years, right?
Great, because you got drafted.
Just because you got drafted.
That's
so
it.
you're
I'm entering the transfer portal today.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So, because I made that comment about AR-15, I was like, listen, dumbest decision anyone ever made. Then I started looking into it. I'm like, I guess that's not dumb. He's going to get drafted in the first 3 or 4 rounds.
Yes.
And at that point,
Even in the 7th round.
yeah, if you're drafted first round, it's $12 million 4-year contract.
Correct.
You know,
And if you're
drafted
smart
in
with
the
your money,
second
you could
round-
retire.
Yeah, if you're drafted in the 2nd round, it goes down to like $11 million, and then it goes. I mean, from there, at the minimum, you're going to make $4 million in 4 years
Look
if
at
you
me.
never even start a game or play.
The greatest job in the NFL is the guy who carries the clipboard and never sees the field because he's getting
best
paid
job.
very well,
Best
and
job.
he is like Chopper said, he's walking when he's 60 years old.
Best job to have.
Yeah, so
UFO is so delicious.
So one of the guys in the Facebook group called me out on it. He's a Gators fan. I can't remember what his name is, but he said, "Oh, it's a great decision. That's a dumb thing that Ray said." I got pissed. I was about to cancel him off the group because you don't call out the administrator as dumb. But I was dumb. I admit it. You would be dumb not to declare for the draft.
Hey,
if
we're
you're
all
ready to
about
go.
self-reflection on this show, just so you know.
Tell us how you really feel.
Tell me how. So CJ Stroud, is he Is he going to be declaring for the draft this year?
Yes.
Okay, where does he go?
Probably top 15.
Top 15, okay.
Yeah, he'll be in the top 5 if he has a good game.
So I mean this
and gets him to the championship.
This isn't a jab because I don't know the answers. You will be able to tell me this. Based off of performance in the NFL and the scheme they tend to run, I would be scared to death to draft an Ohio State quarterback.
I would too.
Who was the last Ohio State quarterback to have good success in the NFL? Do you know? I don't know. I mean, it's not a.
Kirk Herbstreit?
No, I don't even know if he got drafted. Here's the problem. Why teams should shy away from C.J. Stroud, and then I'll tell you why it shouldn't bother them. Ohio State's offense is set your offense up, see what the defense does, then look to your coach and have your coach call on the next play. The quarterbacks aren't reading the defenses.
They're a robot.
At Ohio State. Now, C.J. Stroud made efforts this season to have more of that, but as the games got tighter, Ryan Day pulled that away from him.
Yeah.
Now, I think C.J. Stroud is definitely capable of reading defenses, but that's just not how they run their ship. That's not how Ryan Day does it. But at the same time, this guy's got incredible arm talent. He's got prototypical size. He's 6'3", 218 pounds. He can run even though he prefers not to. And he's got a strong arm. I think he will be a successful quarterback in the NFL.
Someone that's comfortable in the pocket, reluctant to run but willing if needed.
Right. You know? I mean, he doesn't bail out of the pocket.
Sounds like Bo Nix.
Yeah. Where's Bo Nix going? People were talking about him as the Heisman Trophy candidate. Now, this is his last season of eligibility, right?
I don't know. He may find 3 or 4 more years somewhere.
He'll be a 3rd or 4th round pick.
Yeah, he's going to go somewhere.
Maybe.
He's going to make his $6 to $7 million
He'll be a
per-year
backup.
contract.
He'll be a backup. He'll be a starter.
I mean, my thing is
Best
this.
place to be.
My thing is this, and it kind of pains me to say this. If you look across the board of this year's quarterbacks of who is a pro-style type quarterback, and I still don't think he does very well as Will Levis. I think he's probably the most NFL ready walking into it, and I don't think he does very well. So I just don't think it's look.
They loved that guy at the beginning of the season.
I don't know why everybody has him rated so high, other than the fact he's 6'4", 235.
That's a lot to do with it, and he's a pocket passer. He's not going to run all over the place.
Yeah, C.J. Stroud is a pocket passer.
If you made a $12 million investment in someone, do you want that person running around, or you want that person staying in that pocket?
Look, it's like everybody's like, oh, Justin Fields is coming to his own. No, if he's rushing for 150 yards a game, he is broke in 3 seasons.
That's Justin Fields. That's not C.J. Stroud, though.
No, I'm just saying generally speaking.
You think it's a smart plan for Justin Fields to be running like that? Heck
No
one
RG3,
yeah.
End of conversation.
Yeah, over with. Yeah,
Over with.
Exactly. Let's get on to the Army-Navy game.
Go Army!
Go Navy! Beat Army! Is that what you do? I don't know. I'm not an Army or a Navy fan.
Yeah, Army is Navy is
Oh, is it?
Watch it now. You can get Landon the Legend fired up as he picked Navy to beat Army.
Navy, yeah. All right, listen.
Take it easy on me, young man.
You're an Army guy. I've known a lot of people that went to the academy.
I did not.
You did not. But there's a lot of loyalty to the Army, it seems like to me. It seems like there's more people that are Army fans than Navy fans whenever we say anything.
Shout out to
that.
the dude.
The dude is an Army. Yeah, he actually is a cadet. Or a Black Knight. Is that what they call him? Black Knights. So here's the game, okay? Last year, Navy beat Army. It was like 17-14. Always a low-scoring game.
And I think all the scoring was in the 4th quarter or something, like in the second half or something like that.
This season, Army's record 5-6. Navy's record 4-7. Army did beat UMass and UConn. Pretty tough games to play. All right. They did lose to Wake Forest, the only Power 5 conference game that they did play. They lost that game. But at least they could beat 2 of the worst teams in college football. That's Army. All right. 5-6. I mean, terrible record. Navy 4-7. Terrible record, right? They're not even neither of them, or one of them might be bowl eligible. One of them, well, not. I guess is my understanding. Both of them lost the Air Force this season, by the way. I don't know what that is in the military. Is that something, Ripper? If the Air Force
so
beats
you
them?
got like the Commander's Cup if you win 2 out of the, if you win. If you win against both of the other academies.
So it looks like
you
Air
get
Force
Commander's
has the Commander's Cup.
Yeah.
Because they beat both of those academies as
But
well.
we're not talking about that game.
Yeah. Army runs the ball every single play.
They both do.
There's games where there's 0 passes in those games, okay? I was looking at all of the games, and I'm trying to say, okay, so who's the quarterback? And it doesn't even, if it says passing, it'll when you're looking at it on Google, it just goes straight from passing to running.
Yeah, who's the quarterback? Who's the fullback? Who's the halfback?
All 3
Old
academies.
school football.
Yeah.
All 3 academies run the wing T triple option.
Yes.
So
Yes.
the games are fast. They're
Yes.
very fast.
So that being said,
assignment football.
Navy's the same way. I was looking, they might put up 46 yards passing every game. That's it, at best. So this is going to be an interesting, fun game to watch. Like you said, fast. Tell me more.
The days of Roger Staubach are long gone in today's. Here's the thing about this game, what I love about it. We can sit here and we put up who's going to buy a beer, who wins this game. Guys, it's the one coolest game of the year that is maybe one of the most important games, that the game is secondary to the meaning behind the game, leading up to the game, as well as the pageantry after the game. The game is honestly kind of secondary to the traditions that go on, or I should say it's equal to the traditions that go on. And no other college game are you going to see that. It really doesn't matter who wins this game, because at the end, now, to those players, don't take me wrong, been on that field, it matters a lot, okay? But what I love about that is, as soon as the horn goes, they're goldfish. They move together, they walk together, they sing together, and it's a fantastic scene that I hope to one day get to take in.
It almost sounds like you read the Substack of
Strikers report.
the Striker report.
The catch by a Striker.
The catch by a
We're
Striker.
all on the same
I
team.
did read it, and it was fantastic. So,
All right. You said we should mention that today, by the way.
absolutely. So when you see that, just like the Ripper report, when the catch comes out, take a read, subscribe to it. It's good. It's good. It's good. I was gonna say good bathroom material. But that's an insult.
That article brought a tear to my eye, man. Striker knows what she's doing over there, writing a good article.
So-
I mean, it was pretty interesting.
But no, it's a fun game. I love watching it every year. Again, I sincerely hope I get a ticket one year to go and just take it all in. My projection was a low-scoring game. Army wins because both teams are kind of down this year. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
The over-under is 31 points. So.
I'll tell you what.
That's exactly what the total for my projection was. 31, 17, 14 Army.
Yeah.
I think I had 24-14.
Yeah, everyone's going low. There's a few people that are 43 to whatever.
No.
I'm like, that's not happening.
Have you never watched an Army-Navy game?
What are you doing here? Did we just have someone new come on the show? I thought there was just the 4 of us.
Thank you.
What's going on, Cheeks? What are you drinking?
I'm drinking a Schofferhofer because I left one party drinking that, so I came here to finish it.
What kind of party were you at?
Be
One
careful.
We won lots of liquor.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Pocono ladies of Lake
Yeah.
Carolina.
Yeah.
I'm sure all of them listen to the show religiously, so we'll go ahead. What do you think about this game, Chopper?
I agree with everything that Rebel said in terms of, basically we're all on the same team. Great game. Great storylines behind all these games. In the end, though, this game is played on land, and Army wins this.
Go Army.
Go Army!
Wait a minute. Is an aircraft carrier big enough to play a football game? They played basketball there. Is it big enough to put a football game on a carrier?
That
would be really cool.
That would be a fun,
Can you imagine every
interesting.
time? Well, you kick the ball.
Hey, you better have a lot of
You kick
footballs.
the punt. Yeah, so right on.
Turn around.
I'm sure they could put 2 aircraft carriers right next to each other and figure out how to make that thing work.
And the Navy SEALs can dive for the balls.
Yeah, there you go. That's
That's a lot of turf. to
What's
bring
your
in.
best Army-Navy joke?
Oh, I
You don't have any?
don't.
You gotta have an Army Navy.
No,
joke.
no. That stays. I leave that for the cadets,
I got you.
for the West Pointers. I got a buddy that always. It was a fun week just listening to him. But I'm picking Army. I'm Army. I bleed Army. Go Army. One team will leave victorious off of the field. But really, America wins.
Go USA.
America. Oh,
America
America. Bringing a tear to my eye. Bringing a tear to my eye.
Right now.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm proud to be an American in the background on
Yeah.
the radio.
If we even get a little bit deeper, really in the end, every football game's like that, right?
It makes me want to cry.
Or the beginning.
Or the beginning.
Are we starting the show off with the Star Spangled Banner?
We are I did something else. You guys will hear it when you listen, but it has something to do with the Army-Navy game. Maybe something more to do with the Navy, but we will see.
Is it that song,
Just
In
listen.
the Navy?
I don't know.
Maybe.
Could be anything. Just listen to the show. You'll hear all about it. Cheeks, what are your thoughts on this Army-Navy game?
I believe that Navy will win 21-17.
All right. So I've always gone for Navy in this game. Listen back to last year's show, you'll see I went for Navy, and the only reason why is because I love to go on boats. That's it.
He's a midshipman.
I'm not sure the Navy's going to claim you with something like that.
Mine's a little
I'm
bit
on
down.
a boat in my flippy
My
floppies.
parents were both in the Navy, and they met at Pearl Harbor.
Lonely Island.
Listen, Chopper knows I am a sucker for a boat. I love boating. It's so fun. Like getting out on the ocean.
Did
doing
you say you
whatever.
like motorboating?
I like the motorboat.
That's what the Navy does. They do boating,
Oh,
right?
boy.
I mean,
Boating.
I'm quite skilled in that department myself.
Oh, here we go.
All right.
Have you seen the size of my outboard?
Oh, jeez.
So we started off in the gutter. Now we move to the slums. Okay. 'Cause you guys are getting-
No, it's 250
Can't wait to
horses.
listen to this back again.
I know it's really bad. It really is. Hopefully we don't have to put this show.
R-rated?
No, I have a couple of the early episodes that are just drafts now because there was way too much stuff going on, and I don't want anyone listening to those. So I didn't delete them, but they're just drafts in my phone, in the app that I use for the podcast.
It's all in good fun, man.
Yeah, one day we'll start a paid subscriber listeners or something like that, and only they'll get to listen to those early trashy episodes. That
Guys at the bar, talking sports uncensored.
Uncensored.
Wow.
Guys at the
Back
bar
when this
gone
was
wild.
not, this was
Guys
not a
gone
family.
wild.
We'll get Springer to start commentating.
I mean, there's one with me and Chopper where I erased it within 5 minutes of putting it up because it was bad. We were 3 sheets to the wind in Daytona Beach.
Oh, yeah.
I do remember this.
Oh yeah, that was.
I do
bad.
remember this.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Moving on to bigger and better things.
Wait, there was one where you kept saying you were in a different place than you were in.
Oh yeah, I know. Because I used to drink a little too much, and then I would just push record. And Chopper had to reel me in. He's like, dude, you need to calm down with this thing because it was bad. We have one where one of our friends, G Boogie, his son gets smacked right at a party by somebody else we know, and all you hear in the background while I'm recording the podcast.
You were recording during that?
I was
Oh my
recording during
God.
that. Yeah.
That's a story for another time.
Those are good times. Those
Yeah,
are when we were successful with 20 million viewers. We write a book and tell all about it.
I'm sure that all the listeners are going to go back and start listening to our early episodes
For that reason.
That I still have.
find
up,
the infamous
I gave him
punch.
hell when I found out that was him.
Oh yeah. So anyway, we're not naming names. No, we never do that. We're all anonymous on this show, unless you're recorded by me on Facebook.
So what do we got next?
Next up, what the fuck? You know what? Let's not do that yet. Let's talk about NFL really fast, okay? Because I know, Cheeks, the Eagles are looking like they are invincible this season. Are they winning the quarter?
Go Birds!
Go Birds! Are they winning the Super Bowl this year? Are you calling it to us or what? There goes Mrs. Hanger. Oh, we're recording the podcast. Come on in, Mrs. Hanger. Just say go Gators.
Miss Hanger.
Chomp chomp!
Where's Mrs. Chopper? Yeah.
She didn't come to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about these Eagles?
I'm going to still stick with what I said the first week of September. I do believe that the Eagles are going to be in the Super Bowl along with the Bills, but I think the Eagles might lose to the Bills.
I think the Eagles might lose to the Buccaneers
And the Cowboys.
I think that's a pipe dream.
because Tom Brady is bringing it right now, okay?
Against the Saints.
He can put up 17 points per game, and that's all he needs to do
14 in 3 minutes.
to beat those Eagles
If the Eagles get
in
35,
the
that's not a win.
NFC Championship.
So, again, I like the story.
Yes.
I mean, I like the players.
Jalen Hurts.
Like when I look at the players, I'm like,
They
take
just meshed
the
so bad.
jerseys off. My concern there is I feel like thus far, and I hope they prove me wrong. I'm okay if they do until they play the Bungles, and then the Bungles can beat them. Is as I wear my Cincinnati shirt, is the schedule has helped them a lot this year. It's one of those things of the teams. I'm going to say they played 3 teams with a winning record. Is that correct? At the time, I mean, the Vikings was a big win.
The number 2 team right now is whom?
The Vikings. And they beat them.
And we beat them substantially.
Correctly.
Yeah.
So outside of that, you've got the Cowboys that you beat and the Titans who are 7-5. But when you come behind that,
The Titans.
again, my concern is this: are they really that good, or are they a benefactor of the schedule that was set up years ago for them?
I think they're really that good, and I think unfortunately they play down to the teams that are lower. I don't think they put forth quite the effort, which maybe that's okay because they're not getting injured.
They put forth the effort. It's just NFL is so weird because like besides a few specific teams, like most of the teams are relatively good.
Right.
They have good players on them. There's like
the worst team in the NFL is still a halfway decent team. Is what you're getting at.
Yeah.
And can beat anybody on a given
But you
week.
also have to think about the Eagles' loss. Their one loss. The refs made 2 bungled calls on that.
Against
One of the games
I can't say anything against the Redskins. I mean, who are not very good.
They're not the Redskins anymore, young man.
But they're not
The
good.
Commanders.
That is the strongest division in all of NFL. They are a decent team in a very strong division.
Ripper's got something to say. Go.
All right, let's not forget about the Cleveland Browns. On a 2-game winning streak, last week they had a 2.7% chance to make the playoffs. Now they're up to 4.6%. They take on Cincinnati next week.
There's a chance.
They
Who
take
they
on
beat.
Cincinnati next week, who they've already beaten and typically play them very well. And then they host the Baltimore Ravens. So without Lamar. So if they can win their last 5 games, maybe even 4 of their last 5,
They get in.
they might be in the playoffs.
That doesn't mean
Playoffs?
they're going to get past the
Playoffs!
first week.
And they have flashbacks of Bernie Kosar.
What the fuck?
What the fuck? We're doing what the fuzz.
We're doing what the fuck. Here's my what the fuck, and then I'll move it on to everybody else, okay?
Okay.
What the fuck? College football's over with almost, man. The season's over.
Where we going
besides
next?
This coming week. Sad to say it, it really depresses me whenever college football's over with. Last year, after the Army-Navy game, I never did a podcast again until we came back to college football. So I'm going to keep it going. We're going to keep this thing going through January.
Yeah.
We're going to make it work.
College basketball is
But
a
I'm
fantastic
sad.
sport.
I'm sad. And y'all are doing too much cross-table talking over
What
here.
the fuck?
What the fuck? College football? All right. Sheiks, give me what the fuck.
My what the fuck is NFL, which is a shocker. So Jim Plunkett, who we all know, won the Heisman Trophy in 1970. I'm going to bring it right back around to the Heisman. Okay? He's the only NFL quarterback to win 2 Super Bowls and not be in the Hall of Fame.
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
What the
What
fuck?
the fuck?
That's bad.
Ripper, since you're doing all this cross-table talk, what the fuck?
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and make an announcement right now.
What the fuck?
You're pregnant.
Starting a band.
Tone deaf.
Tone Deaf is the name of the band.
Okay.
We already got a lead guitarist. We got a
Bassist.
We need a bassist. We don't have that confirmed yet.
Yeah.
We need a drummer.
Need a drummer.
Got a singer and a backup singer. The name is Tone Deaf. We hope to, within 6 months, play right here at MJ's.
Do you think people are going to turn out for somebody called Tone Deaf?
Oh yeah.
Oh, they
Oh
will.
yeah.
When
Do
they
you have
know
any
it's
gigs
us.
lined up?
Okay.
We don't even have a band yet. But I'm already putting us out there. What the fuck, Tone Deaf?
What the fuck?
Rebel, what
I don't
the
ever
fuck?
I don't ever do this. I have to have a quick 1A and a 1B. 1A, North Carolina basketball. What the fuck, dude? You were number 1 ranked team
They're
in the
not
country.
ranked now.
You've lost 4 games in a row. Get your crap together. But my real one is this. It's college football can be so crazy at times, and this season has proven this.
Yep.
Scott Satterfield, the head coach of Louisville, abruptly, unexpectedly leaves to take the head coaching job at the University of Cincinnati. Okay,
What
just
the
kind of
fuck?
down the road. The Bulls come
Where
out.
they gonna play?
Louisville plays Cincinnati in the
God.
bowl game. All right, Scott Satterfield, my quarterback, my freshman year at Appalachian State. So the question is, his last day supposedly with Louisville is before the bowl game. Does he actually go over and coach Cincinnati, or
There's
does he
no
go?
way.
I'm staying out of this shit show.
No, they never coach the ball game. He'll sit there and watch it.
He should. What the fuck?
Fuck. Chopper, what the fuck, Chopper?
So my what the fuck has to do with Vanderbilt, right? And Vanderbilt actually had a top 10 finish in SEC power rankings. Number
Behind
10.
Georgia? Or behind,
10.
sorry.
Yeah, Vanderbilt, number 10, SEC
Wow.
power ranking, right in front of the Florida Gators.
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
That's pretty good.
That's pretty solid.
Andy's
right.
getting it done.
That's solid.
So,
All right, last call.
Last
wow,
call.
that was right on time.
right on cue.
I think that's the first time it was right on time.
Perfect.
Whenever we were ready to go to last call.
You know, 60% of the time it happens every time.
No, it does not. It happens 0% of the time.
Yogi
except this
Berra?
time. All right. Last call is going to be an interesting story from the Army-Navy game of the past. Anyone, it could be last year's, it could be the first one, it could be one from 1944, it could be one from 1967, whatever you want. Anything. So we'll go ahead and give it to Cheeks. Cheeks.
Ladies
go.
first.
Mine is super sweet and short. In 1963, the Army-Navy game debuted instant replay.
Oh, wow.
Did they really? Oh,
Yes,
that's
they
fun.
did.
Wow,
Okay.
that's kind of cool.
Interesting. All right. Hanger.
Sticking
for
with the
Chopper.
theme of Heisman, did you know that there have been 5 Heisman Trophy winners that have played in the Army-Navy game?
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Is that a long time
I
ago?
won't read them all
Recent?
out to you.
One was
All the
Cowboy,
way
wasn't it?
from 1945 to 1963, yeah. So we had Roger Stahl back in
Nice.
Yep, Roger
63, but
That's the one.
That's
there's been
interesting.
5 players that
Heisman
played in that
Trophy
game.
winners. Okay, excellent. Rebel.
So mine's not a game, but the series, and it's like, you know, when's the last time an Army-Navy game was not played? Because it's kind of known as the annual tradition that it's been since 1930, but there's been 10 times the game was not played. It said that the longest interruption, I love this, it lasted
I do
from
too.
1894 to 1898, and it came about because of an argument between an Army general and a Navy admiral, and almost ended in a duel on the front steps.
Oh, nice.
Gotta love it.
Yeah.
Ripper the Predictor. Give it to me.
So, the Army-Navy game rarely occurs at the home teams or even the visiting teams' field. In 1983, the Army-Navy game was held in the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, the only time it had been held west of the Mississippi River.
Nice.
All right, interesting. All right, mine. 1944, in the midst of World War II, right? Both Army and Navy were the number 1 and the number 2 teams in the country. This was sort of like the national championship, right? This game, like I said, was a de facto national championship. Many of the best players in the nation enlisted in the war effort from 1941 on after Pearl Harbor. And many colleges actually terminated their programs. Alabama terminated their program in 1943. So a lot of those players ended up going to play at Army and at Navy, being after enlisting, right? Army goes into this game in 1944. They outscored their opponents 481 to 28 that season. And this was a very big game. Everyone in the country was looking forward to it because it was the number 1 and number 2 team in the country. Sold out crowd of 66,659 people, one of the largest crowds in a football game at that time. And Army beats Navy 23-7. So
Army.
Go Army!
Where was the game?
it was in Philadelphia.
At JFK Stadium.
Yeah, General MacArthur said after the win, they stopped the war just to celebrate that win. I don't know if that's really true.
Aww.
He probably did not stop bombing the Nazis or the Japanese.
Of course
but
he
that's
did.
what he said he did, right?
News got to you 2 weeks later.
So anyway, that is your guys at the Bar Talking Sports for the week of the Army-Navy game. Go Army!
Go Navy.
No, go Navy!
Go
Army.
Navy! All right, there we go. If you like the show and you want to help the guys grow the show, go ahead and go to your podcatcher and subscribe to the show. Then you could also write us a review and give us 5 stars. If you do that, it'll help us grow the show. You could also join our Facebook group, which allows you to have camaraderie with other sports fans all over the country. You might even get a free beer out of it. So go ahead and join that group as well. And then check out our Substack, which is guysofthebartalkingsports.substack.com for weekly articles and the Ripper Report.